Alright, so for this video, we're looking at Chapter 2, Section 5, and the topic for today is to solve equations with a variable on both sides. We look at the first example here. We can see that there's a variable here and a variable here. The goal that we want to do for solving equations is to get the variable on one side, and then once it's on one side, you get it all by itself, alone, isolated. So what I like to do is go to the equal sign here and put a line going down, and this just kind of helps to divide the equation into equal parts, making sure that we do what we do on one side, we do on the other to keep the equation balanced. And I like to look at we got 4x and we got negative 8x. I like to think of that as a negative right there, and I suggest getting rid of the smaller one, because then you're less likely to work with the positive. You're more likely to work with the positive later on. So negative 8 is less than 4, so that's the one that I'm going to get rid of. You can do it either way. You still get the same answer, but I just find it easier to do it that way. So when you put these together, negative 8x and positive 8x, that gives you 0. So on the left side, all we have is 7. Then on the right, you've got 4x and 8x. That gives us 12x. We still have our minus 17. Now we've got a two-step equation. Variables on one side, now we want to get it by itself. So we got to work to get rid of this over here. So the opposite of subtracting by 17 is to add 17, and what you do to one side, you have to do the other to keep it balanced. When you put negative 17 and positive 17 together, the outcome 0. So on the right, all we have is 12x. And then on the left, 7 plus 17 is 24. And the last thing to do is look at this. X is being multiplied by 12. The inverse operation of that is divide by 12. This gives you 1 here, so you're left with 1x. And on the other side, 24 divided by 12 is 2. We can always check our answer. If we've got 7 minus, wherever I see an x, I'm going to plug in a 2 equals 4 times 2 minus 17. If our answer is correct, then this should be a true statement. So we got 16 here if we follow the order of operations. Over here, follow the order of operations. We got 8 minus 17. 7 minus 16 is negative 9. 8 minus 17 is also negative 9. So this checks out. So this answer's got to be correct. All right, now if we look at this, we've got a variable on both sides, and we've got parentheses on one side, which means we're going to have to do the distributive property. So whatever's outside the parentheses, we want to multiply by everything on the inside. So first, if we take 1/5 times 5x, well, 1/5 of 5 is 1. So that leaves it with just x. 1/5 of 20, 20 divided by 5, is 4. So after we distribute, we simplify that to there, and you're just bringing down what's on the left side. I like to go beneath the equal sign here and break this equation into two parts. Again, here's an x on this side, x on this side. I suggest look at the smaller one and get rid of that. 1x is smaller than 4x, so that's the one that I'm going to do this time. That gets you 0. Over here, x minus 1x is 3x, but we still have the minus 5. We want to work to get this x by itself, so we've got to do the inverse operation of subtracting by 5, which is to add 5. What you do to one side, you got to do to the other. Negative 5 and positive 5 give you 0. So we got 3x equal to 9. And then x is being multiplied by 3. Opposite or inverse operation of multiplying by 3 is divide by 3. What you do to one side, again, you still got to do the other to keep it balanced. We got x equals 3. So if we check this, just looking at wherever there's an x and plugging in 3 for x. Okay, over here we got 12 minus 5. Here we got parentheses. We're going to simplify the parentheses here. 5 times 3 is 15 plus 20. Okay, 5 minus 7, 12 minus 5 is 7. And then if we do 1/5 of 15, 15 divided by 5 is 3. And 1/5 of 20, 20 divided by 5 is 4. 3 plus 4 is 7. So we got a 7 on both sides, which means this should work. It does work. Sometimes when we solve an equation, we may not have a solution, or sometimes it might be infinite, or all real numbers, not just one variable. So if we look at this, we've got, I'm going to keep the left side the same, 3x. Over here, we've got parentheses, distribute that to simplify it. We've got 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 4 is 12. Variable on both sides that happen to be the same. Well, we can't have them on both sides. We want to get them on one side and then isolate it alone by themselves. So if we subtract 3x here, we've got to do it on this side. When you subtract 3x from 3x, this gives you 0. Here you have 3x minus 3x, that gives you 0. All you're left with is 12. And look at the statement, 0 equals 12. That's not true. Doesn't make any sense. So when you get a situation when you have variables are removed and you got a number on each side of the equation that's not equal, this is a situation where you've got no solution. There is no value of x you can put in there that will make it true. Right. So over here, if we do this, we got distribute, we got 3 times 2a, that's 6a. 3 times 2 is 6. On the right side, 2 times 3a is 6a, and then 2 times 3 is 6. And if you look here, these things are exactly the same. 6a plus 6, 6a plus 6 is a situation where you're going to have all real numbers. Any number you put in there that's real is going to work. And look what happens when we work to get the variable. If we work through it, we got minus 6a, minus 6a. That gives you 0. You're left with just 6. This gives you 0. You're left with just 6. And, well, that's a true statement. 6 does equal 6. This is a situation where you're going to have all real numbers as the solution. So you could put just about anything in there. So when you have a situation where they're not equal, no solution. When you have a situation where it's equal on both sides, there's no variable, the variables cancel out, we got all real numbers. Okay. Now here's 3 problems for you to try. This would be a good time here to pause the video, write these equations down and work through them. If you need to look back at the videos that you just took, that would be a good thing, probably, and that might help you, refresh your memory on something you just learned. And when you finish practicing these and you've got a solution, you can unpause the video and then check your answers with the next. The answers are going to be here at the end. So pause the video if you haven't yet. Practice them, and when you're finished, unpause it to see what the solutions are. Oh, for some reason this one got cut off. The third one is no solution.